I'm so excited to welcome Jackie Camacho Ruiz, my very first WOMXNAIRE interview. And we have a lot to celebrate because Jackie just hit 7 figures in December 2020, the year that was crazy for everyone. And she accomplished something incredible. Jackie, tell us a little bit about your business, who you serve, what is it that you do? Because I know you work with a lot of entrepreneurs, and a little bit about the story that got you to 7 figures.
What a pleasure. I mean, what a pleasure to be here as your
Yeah.
first interview in this series. What an honor. Thank you. Thank you. Well, first of all, I have been an entrepreneur for 15 years. And, as a two-time cancer survivor, the first few years of my journey were really dedicated to serving and surviving, really,
Mm.
surviving health issues and surviving financially and all these things. I have been servicing CEOs, C-level executives, entrepreneurs, authors for the last 15 years. I became an author at the age of 26, about 11 years ago, and that also was a transformation for me that led me to creating my second business, which is a publishing house. I was so focused on being alive, really, truthfully, because I heard the word cancer associated with my body for, within 2 years, two times at the age of 21 and 23. And when that happens, and when your dream has always been to be an entrepreneur in the land of dreams, and you finally have that opportunity at 23, and then, life throws you a curveball and says, when the doctor says you have a 30% chance of living,
Wow.
the other two things are, you might die in the next 2 weeks, or you might be fed out of a tube for the rest of your life. As a new entrepreneur, that was the last thing I wanted to hear. But I think that burning desire to help and serve has allowed me to stay afloat, between a recession and all these different things and the twists and turns with my health and, the growing pains of a business for the last 15 years. And here I am finally, reaching this amazing milestone that I dreamed about so many times. And I'm sure that a lot of you watching have dreamed about this incredible milestone of 7 figures and beyond. And, and it's, actually making it happen, like you said, in the middle of a pandemic, in a moment of, where so much was going on. It's just such a beautiful blessing. And I'm so grateful.
We talked a little bit about one of my missions with this is to really give other women entrepreneurs the permission to dream bigger, to reach that level, to show them that there's nothing to be afraid of. It takes some hard work, there's some strategies involved, but you can do it. And you shared this story with me in December, and you made me dream bigger too. I mean, I can see that so clearly for myself now. And so thank you. And I know that we're going to do that for so many other women. You and I talked about there was some mindset work that you had to do with yourself. Can you talk a little bit about that, what those limiting beliefs were, and what did you do to overcome that?
Even though I was exposed to amazing literature since I was a little girl, I've always had these voices in the back of my head saying, are you good enough? Do you deserve this? With every key milestone, I think sometimes we're prepared for the bad stuff and we don't prepare ourselves for the beauty that can come to our lives. And I will say that for many years, I was very close to the $1 million. There was something that, was holding me back. When I became a first time author, I would cry and say, who's going to call me an author? I'm 26 years old. I don't deserve this. When I moved into the house of my dreams, I was like, no one in my family, I have no point of reference. No one in my family or my husband's family or anybody's family that I know lives in a house like this. And part of you, feels guilty, feels like, am I, an imposter? Am I, and I think as you embody the beauty, and really embrace and surrender to the beauty that is coming to you, you begin to really accept that. And in doing that, you open up a pathway, like you said, for other people to dream bigger. So that's when it became okay for me to say, it's okay that abundance is coming to me. It's okay because if I were nicer before, now that I have more financial resources and opportunities, now I'm even nicer. And that's what I discovered about myself. I was so afraid of having money because of these stigmas, growing up in Mexico and seeing how people that had money were so mean to people that like us that didn't have any money. And it was a point of contention, a point of, I'm like, I never want to be like that. So I don't want any money. So for many years, I have been very close to the $1 million, but not quite made it. And who were to say that in the middle of a pandemic, I'm here and finally, and I've unleashed that. I'm like, you know what? I'm not afraid anymore. I think part of what helped me do this is that I got my pilot's license, and knowing the fear sometimes, the guts that it takes to operate an aircraft as a pilot in command when, your husband, your kids, your dad, your brothers, your friends depend on you for their life, and your life depends on you. And it's surreal. So to me, it was like, how do I take all of that I've conquered? I've survived so many turbulences and I've survived landings. And how do I take that and apply that to life? And that's what kind of made it okay. But there was a very specific moment that happened in 2020 that I finally said, you know what? I'm going to do this. A very kind of an interesting thing happened in December when I was nominated to be basically up for a program of Latinx entrepreneurs at Stanford University. And, I was very close to the million in 2019. And so I went ahead and applied. One of the requirements was to be at $1 million. They basically said, you have an amazing story. You have an incredible story that will inspire millions. You're the kind of person they want to have, except there's a little problem. You are $140,000 away from the million. And I said, yes, isn't that a good thing? He's like, yeah, but this program is for $1 million and above. And I can't take that. And I was devastated, Megan. I was devastated because I've never had any capital investments. I've never had angel investors. I did this, with my husband, like from the ground up. And I was like, but I'm so close. He's like, yes, you are, but you're not. First, it was frustration. It was sadness. It was like, oh my God, and I really wanted it. I really wanted to be part of that program. After I spoke with the professor, he says, we're looking for economic impact. And if we accept you, then that means we have to accept everybody else that doesn't get to the 7 figures. So I then transformed the energy and I said, okay, how do I get rid of all my stigmas, get rid of all my limiting beliefs, get rid of all the crap that is in my head, from this and not deserving and this, and really focus. I know we're in the middle of a pandemic. I know we're suffering through this, but I really want to make this happen. And I started working with my accountants. I started working with my clients. I started servicing them. I started asking them for referrals. I started going above and beyond, looking at the numbers. I've never worked for money. I've never worked for fame. I've never worked for egos. I've always worked for dreams. But when this interception came up of being able to participate in such a coveted program, and I was so close to it, and I had given everything over the last 15 years as an entrepreneur, servicing, I knew that this was my opportunity. And I am so happy to say that I ended the year with 10% above what I was looking for at $1.1 million in 2020 in the middle of a pandemic. And I just got accepted to this amazing program.
Yeah. I'm so proud of you, Jackie. Oh my gosh, you're such an inspiration. I want to recap too on like the limiting beliefs that you had and not having a role model that showed you could be wealthy, and through your wealth, you can make bigger impact. You can be a kinder person and really expand on that kindness, make a bigger impact. I feel like so many women are in that same boat. We have so many examples of women becoming wealthy and becoming bitches. Movies to TV shows to, commercials to, there's so many different examples out there. So it's ingrained in our subconscious almost. And we don't even realize that that's the fear. That's where the fear is coming from. You actually sat down and you said, okay, what is the fear that's there? And is that real? Is that the process you went through?
Yeah, and I've always focused on, for me, success is the interception of impact and profit. And I understand that those two things don't have to come from the same place. I understand that, and I had to use a lot of techniques, a lot of things that I read as a little girl from Dale Carnegie, from Napoleon Hill. Principles like, for example, if you help enough people get to their dreams, you'll achieve your dreams. Or if you, allow yourself to be a servant leader, you will extend your wings and you will achieve the abundance. Um, writing, the power of writing and manifesting. I wrote it in my journal, by the age of 37 I'll become a millionaire. 37, 37, 37. And I had kind of forgotten about it until I recently, when this happened, I'm like, oh my gosh, things become, thoughts become things and they become real. And it's a lot of times an inside job. It's fighting with those emotions, fighting with those limiting beliefs, fighting with, do I want to be that bitch, that, people are afraid of, because she's got, the money, she's got the thing. Like, I didn't want to be that. I wanted to be a walking heart, kindness, spreading my wings and thriving and really servicing other people. And it took kind of years, as I started to experience abundance, over the last, decade. And I started to, experiencing this like sparkles of abundance and this, and for me to kind of be okay with that and say, you know what? No, I am kinder with money. I am nicer, kinder, sweeter, more generous, more, abundant. And I wanted to keep my, that was my biggest fear. I wanted to keep my essence, my authenticity. And, I thank God every day that I have an opportunity to not only be alive from everything that I've been through. I also, this year in August, I had a near-death experience on the plane. And I decided to live. I chose to land and runway 27 and not anywhere else. And it took everything that I had inside of me. And I said, if I could survive that, with my teddy bear, I could do anything.
So having other women look at their lives and say, okay, what else am I doing in my life that is pushing through fear? Where am I pushing through fear? And using that as an example to anchor that in to show you that it's possible.
I don't know if you knew this, but you are really a pioneer of this amazing, thing that you're doing, because I have never openly shared this story in an interview with any other group. I mean, so you're my first too. And
Thank you. You brought tears to my eyes.
I'm kind of emotional because, when I came to the States, I didn't even speak a word of English at the age of 14. And I picked up English, German, and people would say, well, you're starting a marketing agency when you didn't even speak a word of English when you were 14. But I felt that need of service. I felt that sense of urgency to serve other people and, that creativity. And that's one thing that I can share with you, that if you can find that makes you authentically you, and if you can figure out a way to encapsulate and package all your experiences, your value, your mojo, your magic in the service, in the context of the service to other people, then there's going to be no limit as far as how much money you can make, how many opportunities open up, how many doors, how many wings you extend. And at the core of everything I do has been that heart of service. And money comes from 20 different ways, 20 different directions. And I think that's the greatest blessing that we can have.
One of my missions this year is to really help women really get anchored in their purpose and know why they're doing what they're doing and follow that path. Because I know you just said that so beautifully, and I've done that for myself, and it's like a different experience. I wake up in the morning and I think about my purpose. All the work that I'm doing, it's to fulfill that purpose. And this is a part of it. This, the WOMXNAIRE, that these interviews are a big part of that. There are so many marketing companies out there, but you stand out because you're anchored in your purpose. You're doing it differently. It's all about service.
When you come from a place of abundance, even if you financially might not have all the resources in place, there were so many moments where I would pray before I went into a meeting and just ask God to plant the abundance in my heart, even though I needed that client. I needed that client more than anything. And I would say, please allow me to serve. Please allow me to be the best facilitator of their success that I can be, even if the solution to their issue is not me. And for me to have the ability to walk away from this meeting without a single penny, but allow me to service them, allow me to guide them, that where my interests are not what is at stake here, where their wings and elevating them is what's at stake. And if you can go into those meetings and say, you know what, I'm not selling anything, I'm here to serve and I'm here for you. And when they feel that you have their best interest in mind, I think that's when the magic happens, and it comes to you 10x, tenfold.
Yeah,
and that's
that
been
is what it
my,
looks like to be so anchored in your purpose, and which is
yes.
yours is serving. I love that. So beautiful. So Jackie, what is your biggest piece of advice for other women entrepreneurs who want to hit that 7-figure mark, who really want to scale their business?
Above anything, be authentic. Find that joy in your heart of your authenticity, and always strive for packaging your unique combination of value in the context of servicing other people. If you can be okay with walking away from a 5-6-figure contract because you feel in your heart is not the right decision for the client, then you've made it. In essence, you're already a millionaire because you walk in the footsteps of abundance, because you can feel that in your heart. And because of that, you're going to become a magnet for the most beautiful, amazing opportunities of service. And learn how to wait. This process it's not overnight. If it's too quick, too fast, it's probably not true. Things that make the life of your dreams and things that are sustainable take time. So be willing to wait, be willing to give, be willing to serve before you expect anything in return. And because of that, you're going to be blessed with the most beautiful abundance in your life. And you'll become part of the 1.6% of women entrepreneurs in the United States that reach the 7 figures.
Amen, girl. Yes, that is really the mission, and one of the reasons that I'm creating the WOMXNAIRE interviews, because I want to be a part of that movement that moves that 1.6% needle to 50%, because I know we can do it. And think about how much more amazing the world is going to be when we have women leading multi-million-dollar corporations with authenticity, integrity, impact at the heart of what they're doing, just as much as the revenue. Isn't that going to be amazing and really change the way life is for everyone?
And it's knowing that it's about profit and about impact, because if we have profit, we can have economic power. And if we have impact, we can lead with the heart. Mm-hmm. And if we can converge those two ingredients and live a life of significance and create a legacy and help others to spread their wings, oh my God, get emotional. Then we've made something.
Yeah. Yes. I love it. Well, thank you for being a part of this movement, Jackie. You're such a beautiful soul.
And remember, taking off is optional. Landing on your dreams and that 7-figure dream is mandatory.